Brad Ricciani here, this is Courier.com, post-fight at Bellator 39, here with CEO Bjorn Rebney. How you doing, Bjorn?
Doing good.
Yeah, great night of fights. Overall thoughts on the product?
I thought it was good. I thought the show itself was a strong show. I thought there were some surprises. If you'd asked me going into it if Rick Hahn was going to win a decision over Lyman Good, I probably wouldn't have thought he was going to win a decision. I thought there were other ways he could have finished the fight, but a decision, no. And if you'd asked me if Pat was going to go 5 solid rounds standing in the pocket against Eddie Alvarez, I probably wouldn't have said there's a high chance of that. I thought Pat may be on his bicycle like he did against Roger, but to stand right in front of Eddie Alvarez, most dangerous striker at 55 in our game, I wouldn't have called that. Patricky knocking out Toby Amata, I would never have called that. I mean, I think conceptually wearing him down, but coming out in the first round and putting Toby Amata to sleep, I wouldn't have assumed that. And Ben had a great performance, which I probably would have called.
Yeah. And with Matt Lee, I mean, what can you say about him? I mean, he's an animal, right?
He's a freak. He is a freak. He's I only wish that he was 10 or 15 years younger than he is. I mean, you can't, as you get to be 40 years old, you can't consistently put on fights like that or have that kind of, heart. But, I mean, I think he's just, I think Ben hit it right on the head. He's like the Korean zombie on steroids.
And you've had a lot of surprises like the last 6 months. I mean, first with the MTV2 deal, that was like, everybody's like, oh man, Bellator's going downhill. You're going on FX. You got an MTV2. You signed Ben Saunders, Jay Haran. Yeah. You got Marlon Sandro, which was a huge surprise.
Ronnie Man.
Yeah. I mean, what's the biggest surprise that you've brought out so far for season 4? And are there any more surprises to come that maybe you don't want to tell us about?
Boy, biggest surprise. None of them are surprises to me. Only because I'm living it and I'm working it. It was interesting when the FX stuff came out because our focal point had been trying to get the MTV deal done. I mean, that's where we wanted to be, and thank goodness we were able to get it done. So, it's a great question, but they're not surprises to me because I'm in it every day. So, I don't know what surprises would be coming up next, but just keep putting on great shows and hoping that we have consistent Bellator moments like Patricky's knockout. Patricky's had 2 unbelievable Bellator moments: a Razor Rob knockout, that right hand, and then the
2 big names. Yeah.
God, yeah, 2 great names. So I can't tell you how impressed I am with that kid. He is legitimately the real deal. So.
And were you disappointed when Zuffa purchased Strikeforce, considering you wanted to co-promote with them for the longest time, particularly the Melendez versus Alvarez fight?
No, I wasn't. It wasn't unexpected, kind of given what was going on in the space and given what Strikeforce was looking to do, so it didn't come as a shock. Scott had made it very clear that he was not interested in doing a Eddie Alvarez versus Gil Melendez fight, even though Gilbert was and I was and Eddie was. So whether they were acquired by Zuffa or stood alone, that fight wasn't going to happen. It's the nature of the business. Zuffa was going to make an acquisition, and Strikeforce was looking for an acquirer, and good marriage.
Yeah. And you have quite a few super fights coming up. Talk about those a little bit. And is there any Drake super fight in mind that you'd like to make that hasn't come to fruition yet?
Boy, Nick's fight next week against Ben should be a really good fight. Nick is, I think Nick's the last guy to have beaten Eddie. We got Cole Conrad fighting Paul Buntello coming up as a super fight. I'm very interested to see Hector Lombard's fight against Falanico Vitali. That should be a great fight because Falanico is a pretty talented dude. All of them. Joe Warren's fight against Galbo. There's a lot of them I'm looking forward to seeing. None of them that I can think of on the top of my head that I'd like to make, but the ones we've got should be pretty solid.
And a few months back, we spoke at the Bellator tryouts in Philadelphia, back I believe in October, prior to Eddie's last fight against Roger Huerta. Right. We talked about Joe Soto. Can you give us an update on his progress?
I'm literally waiting to talk to Tom Call right now because they had a comprehensive eye exam done about 4 or 5 days ago, and we're waiting to get the results from that to see exactly where his recuperation is with a detached retina. God willing, it'll be good, and then if it's good enough to get an approval, then it's up to Joe Soto to make a decision. Does he want to come back? What are the inherent risks in coming back? But just a great kid and a good guy, and sometimes bad things happen to good people, and he's one of them. And whatever he decides to do, we'd be behind him. But if he did get the okay to come back to fight and he wanted to fight, we would welcome him. So we'll see.
And when this season is over on MTV2, the inaugural season, what's the lasting impression you want fight fans to have after watching your product?
Exactly what they saw tonight. Stellar, spectacular, kind of jaw-dropping moments. Patricky Pitbull knocking out Razor Rob McCullough. Patricky Pitbull with a knee knocking out, Toby Amata. Patricio Pitbull knocking out Georgi Karahanian. And just the list goes on and on. I just want, Richard Hale, a 205-pound, 6'4" light heavyweight, pulling off an inverted triangle that Amata made famous 2 years ago. It's just those moments that people go, "Oh my God, did you see that?" That's what that's what you strive to have the athletes fighting under your banner do, and they keep doing it week after week after week. We keep getting these moments that just become viral sensations.
Does it surprise you at all? Because it's happening like consecutive weeks.
Not anymore. It doesn't surprise me because so much is on the line, and if you win here, you move on, and if you lose, you go home, and there's no put on a good show and win kind of a close decision and then see what happens, or maybe you don't win but you put on a good show. It's all objective and tournament based. So at this point it doesn't surprise me because it's happened so often, but boy, it surprised me like crazy when it started happening 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, Bjorn, thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Always a pleasure. Cool. Great show tonight. Bellator 40 next week on MTV2. Fred Ricciani, thesportscourier.com.